Bonjour classe, bienvenue dans la classe de français 2. I got a question for you. Are you talking to me? 'Cause I'm talking to you. Let's talk about that. Okay, class, are you talking to me? We are looking at lesson 14, which starts in your textbook on page 218, so please feel free to follow along there. And here's the question of the week. Are you talking to me? To say that in French, here's what you say. Tu me parles? Tu me parles? And the answer, yes, I'm talking to you. Oui, je te parle. Now, what do you notice about those sentences? Besides the fact that they're in French, there's one big difference between the way we ask the question and answer the question in English and the way that it's set up in French. Are you talking to me? The word me comes at the very end. But look at the way the French sentence is set up. Tu me parles, it goes right here in the middle. Oui, je te parle, again, kind of right there in the middle before the verb. So let's go back just a second here and talk about the parts of a sentence. Some English grammar for you. Always good to learn your own language. The subject of a sentence, not to be confused with the topic of the sentence. The topic of the sentence is what's the sentence about. The subject of the sentence is the thing, the person that does the verb. And if the subject does the verb is the action that happens in the sentence. So what does that leave us? Subject, verb, object. The object of the sentence gets verbed, has the verb done to it. So here are some examples en anglais. The dog chased the cat. What is the subject of the sentence? If you said the dog, you are correct because the subject does the verb. What's the verb? What's the thing that the dog did? Chased. That's the verb. The dog chased. What got chased? What's the object of this sentence? The cat. The dog is the subject. Chased is the verb. The cat is the object because it got chased. Now here's another one. And this is what will happen every time the dog catches up with the cat, if you know cats. The cat clawed the dog's eyes out. What's the subject of this sentence? If you said the cat, you are correct because the cat did the verb. What's the verb in this sentence? Clawed. The cat clawed. That's the verb. It's the action that the cat did. Now, what's the object of the sentence? What got clawed? The dog's eyes. This little word out kind of goes along with the verb clawed, so we won't worry about that. But the dog's eyes are the object of the sentence. And it's important moving forward the next few weeks that you can identify the subject, the verb, and the object. In English and in French, they always go in the same order. Subject, verb, object. But one thing that changes is if you change the object from a word like the cat or the dog's eyes, if you change that to a pronoun like it or them, that's when the word order changes in French. So it's going to be super important that we understand this concept first. So we're taking a look at now some examples. Sophie talks to me. Subject, verb, object. But notice, in French, Sophie me parle. Subject, object, pronoun, verb. The object pronoun goes before the verb. I call you once a week. The subject is I, je. I call you. Call is the verb. Téléphone. You is the object because you are the one that I'm calling. You get my call. You get the verb. And in French, here it is. Je te téléphone. It goes before the verb. Grandma visits us each summer. What's the subject of this sentence? It's grandma, and it's the same in French, grand-mère. What's the verb in this sentence? What does grandma do? She visits. And here it is, rendre visite en français. And who does she visit? Who gets visited? The object of the sentence is us, nous. But notice how in English it's grandma visits us, and in French it's grandma us visits. Grand-mère nous rend visite chaque été. So the parts of speech are the same, but what changes is the order. The verb comes before the object in English, but the object comes before the verb in French. Sophie me parle, je te téléphone, grand-mère nous rend visite. Oh là là, ça c'est beaucoup. Let's move on. Are you talking to me? Tu me parles? Oui, je te parle. Tu nous invites? Are you inviting us? Oui, je vous invite. Eric me téléphone. Eric calls me. Oui, je t'écoute. Yes, I'm listening to you. Et pourquoi est-ce qu'il me regarde? Why is he looking at me? With all of these examples, the word me, the word you comes before the verb. I'm listening to you in English, but je t'écoute en français. He calls me in English, but in French, Eric me téléphone. Vous voyez la différence? Okay, super bien. Class, here's a little chart that's going to help us out. And we are not really paying attention to these things down here. This week, we're just focusing on the top 4 object pronouns. Oop, the top 4. There, I underlined 3. That's better. We're focusing on me, te, nous, and vous. Me, you, us, and all y'all. So for this part right here, don't worry about it until next week. Class, as I mentioned, in French, pronouns go before the verb. Marc calls me. Marc me téléphone. She knows us. Elle nous connaît. I love you. Je t'aime. Notice they don't actually say I love you. They say I, you, love. Just beautiful. Now, if you want to tell someone what to do, because we like to tell people what to do, give me that. Show me something. Call me. Here are some examples of commands. And notice how they're a little bit different. Instead of saying me, now we're saying moi. You guys have seen this word before. Donne-moi. Give me. Donne-moi un sandwich. Montre-moi. Show me. Montre-moi tes photos. Téléphone-moi. Call me. Téléphone-moi ce soir. That is how you tell people what to do, to give a command. If you want to tell them to not do something, then it goes back to the original order, the original structure. Like up here, Marc me téléphone. If you want to say, don't give me that, ne me donne pas. Here's our ne pas, which makes things negative. And notice that the word me comes before the verb. Or, don't show me that. Ne me montre pas. Ne me montre pas. The ne pas makes it negative, and the me goes before the verb. And don't call me. I am not going to be available. Ne me téléphone pas. The ne pas goes around the verb, but the me comes just before the verb to make it negative. So there you go. Object pronouns. It's how to say who's talking to you and who you're talking to. It's also how to tell people what to do. Bring me something, show me something, give me a call. Class, you're going to be working in your textbook, and I have to get to the right document for you guys. Oh dear, I have too many queued up. Here we go. So this is page 219. Your assignment is to do page 219, exercise 3. It says, pas de problème. And All these people are talking about their problems. For example, nous avons faim. We're hungry. Pas de problème. Marc nous apporte des sandwiches. You're going to say, Mark is bringing us some sandwiches. Numéro 2. Vous organisez une soirée. You're planning a party. Pas de problème. Céline vous prête ses CD. Céline is loaning all of you her CDs because this party is taking place in 1996. Now, to look at a few better examples maybe. So this is what it looks like in the textbook, but here's how you're going to write your answers. Get to that spot. Ooh. If you pause the video, you might see all the answers. Page 219, exercise 3. Nous avons faim. Pas de problème. You don't have to write pas de problème. Marc nous apporte des sandwiches. Notice, we are saying he's bringing them to us, and the word for us is nous, and notice it goes before the verb. Class, you also have to conjugate your verb. Apporte is conjugated with the subject. What's the subject of this sentence? Who is bringing the sandwiches? Marc is bringing the sandwiches. Marc nous apporte. So this verb is conjugated with Marc. And for number 2, vous organisez une soirée. Céline vous prête ses CD. Céline is loaning all of you her CDs. And who is doing the loaning? Céline. Prête. So this is conjugated with Céline. So then you can do the same thing with number 3. Je ne comprends pas la leçon. That's a little ironic. That's okay. Pauline me montre ses notes. Pauline is showing me her notes. You see where this is going? I'm going to leave the rest of them for you. But there's another exercise that you're doing in the textbook, and that is right here, using the imperative, telling people, call me, invite me, bring me something, and that is right here, exercise 5. So this is page 220, exercise 5, s'il te plaît. You're asking your friend to do stuff for you. You're going to look at the situation and then choose the correct verb. So for this first one here, j'ai faim. What would you want them to do with a sandwich if you were hungry? Give me a sandwich, right? Or maybe bring me a sandwich, apporter. It got a little cut off here, but you'll see it in your textbook. So to answer that, to say bring me a sandwich or give me a sandwich, that's going to look like this. Again, you're starting to see all the answers. Those of you who are smart might pause this video just to get it done. So you could say apporte-moi un sandwich or donne-moi un sandwich. Use that imperative form to give a command. If we go back to the textbook page, number 2, je voudrais téléphoner Marc. I want to give Marc a call, but I need his phone number. Show me his phone number. Give me his phone number. These are the verbs you can use. Donner, montrer, prêter, rendre, or apporter, which you will see in the book. So, number 2, donne-moi son numéro de téléphone is a good answer. Do you get what you're doing? Go back and watch this video again if you're not quite sure. But basically, class, that is it. So, watch the video, pause the video when you need to, get these textbook exercises done, and when we meet back together in class, we'll go over it all together and make sure we all understand, and we'll continue to talk to each other. You talking to me? I'm talking to you. Tu me parles? Je te parle. Au revoir. À bientôt.